when they're really young ones.
So what you're saying, I'm just fed on...
Oh, that's all I feed.
Or protein?
Oh, yeah, I only feed peas.
On those rear the youngsters, there's no mixed corn?
No, peas.
Just peas. On once that's built up, you get about what, 500 weight?
About 400 weight.
400 weight in there on that.
That does me.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
You are, I presume you have some of your medicines from Belgium?
Yes.
Trico Plus?
Yeah.
But basically it's just to keep the birds healthy.
That's correct, yeah.
And again, it's nice to see. You don't see many sections like this, which is just corn and on the medicines to get the birds fit to fly. Yeah, it's a good setup.
It's just cool. It ain't no secret wonder drug.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just basically what you buy at the pet shop.
But obviously, Tex, you've got the room, as I've said before. You've got a big garden, so obviously you've got the room to expand and to have a section like this. A lot of the lads obviously haven't.
That's correct.
But you have.
Unfortunate,
yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, you're fortunate too. Because I know when Michael came here, he liked this setup, and he wished as he'd got the type of land that you'd got for the setup, but obviously he hasn't.
Yeah.
Well, Tex, it's been very nice speaking to you.
Thank you, Ken. I just like to say, when I started in the sport, I was very fortunate. The people that gave me pigeons were all top flyers. I mean, I never had to pay for a pigeon off anybody.
Yeah, which is nice.
There was a Eric, Jimmy, Ronnie, yourself, Tom Dilks.
But again, if you're a genuine lad, you find the sport helps.
That's right, yeah.
Not a 12-month wonder. So it's nice to see you fly the birds well, as well.
I think you'll get your disappointments, but you keep at it and one day you score.
And then we go down to the pub on a night and drown our sorrows.
And start again. Get over it.
Right, Tex, many thanks.
Thank you
for your time
this
morning. So we'll now go and see some more of the lads. I'm sorry we're a bit late, but obviously we've been to the other pens. Michael, this is Michael Aston, who will be coming to see you in Australia, and he'll be bringing this video over for you, so you'll be meeting him in person, and then he'll tell you about the video, obviously, but we'll talk about his birds and how he started in the sport. Hey Michael, I know you've been in the sport a good many years, and I know your father was in the sport a good many years. So can you tell me when you was a little lad and when you got involved in Tipplers?
Well, we've always had pigeons in the house. My dad's had them when he was 11 and he was 18 when he died. And they've always been there, like. And through the years, my dad's had races, Tipplers, tumblers. But eventually, like I say, I've always come back to the Tipplers. Although we've had tumblers all our life, we've been Tipplers involved here.
Well, can I ask you, how long have you been flying competition?
I started in 74. I had 3 years in the sport then I went out of it and I come back in 1992. I've been back in it 5 years.
Can I ask you what club you was in when you first started?
Springfield Club.
You was in the Springfield?
Yeah.
What birds did you fly then?
I flew Bowdens then.
A Bowden bird?
Yeah.
Did you find them big bird, little bird? Did they fly well? Or?
I thought they was big birds and I always found they flew well. But where I used to fly before was that when you got tumblers and it wasn't a proper position for flying Tipplers, so I couldn't do the birds justice.
So what you're saying, there was a lot of tumbler flies around you,
oh, God,
and it hampered the birds?
Yeah, because if you've got a decent drop, I mean, it's easier than if you're flying with everybody going down, because when you're training, the attractions to go down is unbelievable.
But it surprised me, because I've known you a good many years, and I've known your dad a good many years. You've always been a tumbler man. We know this with your droppers, which we'll talk about in a moment. How long have you been in the Willenhall Club?
5 years.
5 years now. And Michael changed his breed then. He he's got a breed of pigeons there. There's a lot of what you may consider coloured birds, pretty birds, but I can assure you they can fly. They're one of the new breeds what have been bred probably over the last 15 years by Colin Bristow. It is a breed I think you've got to take your hat up to him and say this is Colin's breed. And I know Michael has fled them very well over the last 4 or 5 years. He's one of our top prize winners, I would say, over the last 5 years with Colin's birds. Can I just have a look at that particular photograph, Michael? Now this particular photograph is of Michael's best kit.
Pride and joy.
They're a kit he's fled over 3 years, but he's done very, very well with them. Can I ask what they've done, well, national and club-wise?
Well, I've won the long bed fly with them last 3 years on the trot, and I've done 1931 national, and the club, that's club and national, 1931 is my top time. But I've done 19 hours with them this year, third national again, and I've got 2 third nationals last year and 2 club records with them, and I'm really pleased with it. But this end especially, I've had since I've been flying in 3 years, when I added another kit, I had 3 national prizes with that end there as well.
Can I also say, you may look at these birds and think, well, they won't do the business in the rain. Well, I can assure you they will. One of our late young bird national flies this year, we was all down, and we came to Michael's thinking Michael was down, and it was absolutely pouring down, and them birds were still flying, and he could not drop them. So I can assure you, those people who say a light feathered bird, a light coloured bird, the rain affects them. In this particular case, they didn't. So you won't see a prettier kit than that, but they have been an exceptional kit, and I think Michael's very, very proud of them. Right, Michael, can I just say now, can I go back a bit with Michael and say he's always been involved with tumblers. On them particular tumblers I'm going to ask Michael to call on the floor, because you don't see many tumblers and he uses them as droppers. So could you just bring them down, Michael?
Come on, come on.
Now, there's a lot of what we call splash pigeons. That was very, very popular a few years ago, but Michael has always kept them. And do they fly well, Michael?
These pigeons, they fly average hour and a half, 2.5 hours a time. They will fly as well as act as droppers. Yes. Or this is like what I call a versatile kit. They're ideal for dropping, and then when like say, such as now we don't fly the Tipplers, I'll get some enjoyment by loosening them out and flying them now.
Those what we call your winter kit then,
That's
Michael?
my winter kit. This is just to keep like ticking over during the winter. When everybody else has got their pigeons in, I've got mine out.
And I must say, it does keep them fit.
Well, these pigeons, I mean, I get that much pleasure out, as much pleasure out of these as well as the Tipplers.
Well, I presume you've had these quite a few years.
Oh yeah. Very. Well, like I say, these when I come before, always had when I come out the Tipplers flying, I've always had the tumblers as well. And as you can see, I used to have all these sorts. I used to call almonds, but of course I had granny, but I got thieves and had them pinched twice, so I got a bit disillusioned, and that's when I went back to the Tipplers.
Well, if you've got any of these particular birds in Australia, they do make good flyers and good droppers.
These pigeons, I'm very versatile, like I say, them all round just for me.
Now, Michael, can you explain the workings of your loft? Can you tell me how it works? As you can see, again, looking at Tex's setup to this setup, we've got a different setup. It's basically probably the same as my setup. But Michael hasn't got the flights on the front. He works everything from his loft. So if you can just explain why you haven't got no flights on the front.
Well, I've got no flights because basically this was just a tumbler pen. This was the original pen. This was a racing shed turned round, and that was built onto it. But this was just for tumblers. But now, hopefully next year, when I come back from Australia, I'm going to have a new shed and have it designed like all the Tippler flights, with a flight on the front and so forth. But at the moment, this was a shed, wasn't meant for Tipplers, but I've just converted to the use for Tipplers. So, and I've got it into 4 sections at the moment. I've got the section where I breed up, but at the moment, the box here, because I'm having new box here, I've got my cocks in there, my flying cocks and my stock cocks.
Yes.
And then in the second section, I've got my ends. My flying ends and my stock ends. So.
Well, we'll have a look at those in a moment, Michael. Can you just show me the workings of your trap? Because up to yet, we've all had different traps, but they all do the same job. So can you tell me how many lights you've got and how they work?
Basically, I've got 2 lights on each end, which I can turn off one or the other, but I have 2 because I like 2, because one will do the job, but 2 is in case one goes. See, and if when you're flying, say, 20 hours, hopefully one of these days I will, if I'm down 20 hours and the lights go, one light goes, well, you've had it, see, so that's why I like to have 2 lights, just in case one goes, see.
There you are, Michael. There's a little tip for you. If you dark fly at home, always have 2 lights, one working and one standby, because I can assure you they do fail when you need them. Right, Michael, now just explain the workings of your trap.
Well, inside you'll see me flying boxing. I'll loose my tipplers into here, my flying kit here, and then I just, that's shut, I'll loose them into there, then when the time comes to loose them out, I'll just pull my trap across, and they're out.
That's just a simple and they...
Is that simple, yeah?
They go in there without any problems?
No problem. As soon as my tipplers drop, they run straight into the trap. No problem, because I'm that used to the trap.
That shows they're very well trained.
Yeah.
Very well trained.
Because they do, tipplers, when you're breaking them in trap, they do spend a lot of time in the trap. Because the more you get a tippler out to see its surroundings, the more chance you've got of breaking them. So I believe in leaving them in a lot. And when I'm training them in the dark, I'm in the dark and in the light. So the trap is one of the main things of the show.
Can you tell me how many birds you breed from?
Well, last few years I've been breeding a lot. I've bred about 100 pigeons.
Which you've been breeding off how many pairs?
20 pairs sometimes. Basic, but last year I'd come down to 15.
But do you find that too many?
Too many, because I have found, because at the moment I've lost a hell of a lot. We have a lot of trouble with the hawk around here, and we've got a big landfill site over the road, which when you're training they get distracted, a lot of strays on there. But I find that at the moment I do need a lot. But when you've got a lot, you can't control them, like where there's a few. Now this year I shall be flying just a few, because to my mind I've had that lot and I've tried a lot, and I just can't control. I can't do the pigeons justice. So all my better pigeons I've been losing, where I shall spend more time. Only having a few, I shall spend more time with them. Because when you have a lot, you tend to spend your time with each lot.
So can I say, Michael does work shifts, obviously, which doesn't help him. So obviously he's got, again, if you work, you've got to work your pigeons in between your job. Can I ask you how many pairs you'll be down to this year?
This year I'll play 10.
And you're still, so he's basically going to halve his breeding birds, and also at the same time he'll probably still keep as many birds. So because you keep a lot of birds doesn't mean as you get more success. And you found that, Michael, in the past?
Oh yes, of course it does. I mean, like I say, I've had one kit there which I could fly every year and guarantee them. But it's like we all, I'm getting older.
That's right. Yeah.
So I've got to get something to replace them. And hopefully this time I can get a few decent kits. So I'm going to loan one, because if anything happened to the kit, or on the day of the flight was bad, I've got no more to lose out. So hopefully it's best to have several kits trained up, so if one's bad or the Ortex one, you can always replace it. But I've been very lucky with those.
And can I say, Michael flies within, probably there's 4 or 5 flyers around Michael, within probably an area of about 1.5 miles, which in Australian terms that's very, very close, because I know where you are, Michael, you're miles and miles apart, but our club is probably, we have about probably 14 flyers within probably a 7-mile radius, which takes some believing in Australia, but that's so. Right, Michael, now can we look in your end section, and we'll have a talk about that. This obviously is your stock pen, and I can see you've got your flyers in as well. Do you normally put your flyers where you stock?
At the end of the year, I find it easier to put all the cocks together and just separate the ends, like, you know. So it's just, like like I say, when I have a new shed, I should have a different compartment. So I should have a compartment for the stock and a compartment for the flyers. But at the moment, it's just, I find it convenient for me to just put them all together.
Now, you won't see more prettier pigeons on this video than what you see here. And again, as I say, they're in good condition, very good condition. Michael likes, it's nice. I presume that high flyers, Michael, they fly high.
Oh, these are high flyers, yeah.
And of course, when the sun's out, it's a pleasure to see them.
It's beautiful. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, these are as good as anything I could go fly, you know.
Yeah, you're quite happy.
Oh, I'm very happy with these. But like I say, but I've got one different. I've got a Bowden cross there. I had one off Jimmy McDonald.
Which is that clay there?
Clay, and I've got one of Collins, Cox, and I've had that pigeon over, and that pigeon is one of my best as well. And that's, as you can see, that's a different breed to the rest.
It is. It looks a much bigger pigeon like.
Yeah, it's got the Bowden in, see.
Well, will you have all these birds at the start of next year for breeding, or has there a few going to be sorted out?
Oh, there's some sorted out, and basically, I'd say I've got 10 flying cocks in it, and there's one or two I should probably shift later on, but at the moment I've just kept them just in case I haven't made my mind up yet. I'm just going to put 10 on. But while there's no box in this one, I'm having new boxes built in again. Because the box I had last year, I had a change of boxes, and they didn't suit me, so I'm going to try some more boxes across here. And I'm just having the 10 pairing.
It's funny you say that, Michael. I always find the Tippler flyers always tend to alter their pens. Although you've had the pen a long time, probably the same as me, and text, there's always some alterations to them. And you're never too old to learn. There's always parts got to be moved, and which is hopefully will make it better for you and the birds.
Well, hopefully, like I said, when I have that new shed next year, that's the last time I'm going to have to alter it. And I just hope I've got a shed which I can use basically every year, and it's got everything I want. But for the moment, like I say, this shed, it wasn't meant for pigeons, Tipplers. It's just been, but as you go by, I found that it's not up to the standard for the flying pigeons.
Oh, do you find when you go to the different lots, you see different ideas?
Oh, yeah, good. Everywhere you go, yeah. It's like how you have your own house. You get somebody else there and you say, we've got a lot of that in our house. It's just that all the time there's different ideas come up all the time. And wherever you go, I don't think the Tipper fly is ever going to be satisfied with his own second fly. Because whatever he does, if he finds something that suits somebody else, and he'll try it himself.
So, hopefully then, sometime, probably over the next 12 months, we'll have a different setup.
Oh, I hope so. Next time, when Michael does come over again to see me, because he came last time, and I missed you, and I was really vexed about that. I hope next time you come, you'll see a different setup, like, you know. And this is one of them cases where this is before and after. I'll show them this was 8 years before, and look at it now, like, you know.
But they're a credit to you, Michael, without a doubt. But as I say, this is a breed of Tipplers.
Yeah.
You probably are looking at now what have been created over the last probably 10 years. Those splash pigeons you saw outside were basically from the start of Colin starting his family were introduced into the Tipplers. They were bred in and bred out, but there is some of those splash pigeons in Collins. Obviously those selected birds, and I know as he has fled splashed ones 14 hours competition. So they've had a good background, and I think over the last 10 years it has worked into the family. Right, Michael, can we now look at the Hens?
Yes. I'm going to just show you my cock. This is the prize. I had first national show with him last year.
What a pretty pigeon.
That was my first national with him. I was really pleased with him in the show.
In the show, which is held in the second...
13th of December this year.
The second week in December.
And that's the week I should be in Australia. I shall miss it this year. But I shall still enter some pigeons.
So he's still birds in, and he's been... Has he been one of your best
players? I've had, I've been 18 hours now in the time, 5 times at least with him.
So a good stock bird.
Stock bird, yeah. No problem at all with that.
Good. Now can we just have a look at the Hens, Michael?
Right. As you can see, I've only got a few. Basically, I've altered this because I had these up here like for different kits in last year. That was like that, it is. And I had this. It's been 2 more sections, and I had like each kit I put in, flying kit I put in. But in the end, I found that was no good, and I got too many pigeons, so I've changed it around again. So this was like that up to a few months ago. And I've changed it again, and I found that it was just, I've got too many pigeons, and I just couldn't control them.
Well, can I ask you, if you have, say, 8 youngsters flying before your flying competition, do you tend to keep them as a kit?
Oh yeah, I'd like to fly them as a kit, then, because you can sort them out, the bad ones from the good ones then. As you gradually keep dropping one out, or two, like, or whatever.
But when you come to the actual competition, are they still kitted as a kit, or do you separately box them?
I separately box them when I come to flying the pigeons. When I fly the pigeons, but I fly them as a kit up until, like, say, about a month before, then I put them into kit boxes, and then I still fly them as a kit, but I'm separate then. But I find that I like to, if I can fly 8 or something, and if I get 5 what's really well, I'd like to try for the 5 bird cup this year, because I think sometimes you can fly better as a kit, like 4 or 5 than 3.
Can I ask you, are the dog trained when they competition fly?
Basically.
Basically.
Yes. If I can, I like to train them as young ones, then, so I've got no work to do. When they come out as old ones, all the work's been done. Because still, when we start flying, it's still basically dark, the first few flies.
So what you're saying, you don't win nothing in daytime, unless it's a bad day?
Such as the long day flies, like say, I mean, if you can get them through 15, 16 hours without doing lights, you got, you know, that's a good fly for somebody who hasn't dark trained. But I find that since I've been it, if you don't dark train, you don't win nothing. So you've got to have them dark trained.
So what you're saying, if they'll do the 16 plus hours, it's better to dark them and get the extra hour out of them, because that's the name of the game.
Yes. Well, Ken, can I just quote you? When you first come, I heard you say, unless they fly an hour in dark, you've got no chance and that stuff. And this I've tried to do all the time, as long as I can go an hour in the dark, longer if possible, but an hour in the dark, and that was your words, and I found them quite to be true.
Yes, that basically, there's probably longer hours done than there was probably 10 or 15 years ago, but you've got to be in the picture if you've got them an hour in the dark. I quite agree, because it's a different ball game when they're in the dark.
So when you heard that, I didn't know nothing about dark training really, like, I mean, just the basics, but I found out it's a very arduous game in the dark. The hours I spending away from the drop is unbelievable, and then all that's on fly day, you lose them out, all that training for nothing, anything can happen.
And then sometimes you have to be at work next morning.
That's right. Oh yeah, I mean, I've been after 1 o'clock sometimes, and I've been on, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock the next morning, from 4 to 6.
So you have to be dedicated.
And 2 till 10 I have to come out in my break and come and lose them, so I'm working market road, come down and lose them out. Or I've got a friend round the corner who isn't working at the moment, when Brian can, he lose them out for me.
So can you tell me how often I'm out in a week?
Well, actually, like, at least, once I've gone dark, at least 3 times, if I can.
Flying?
2 to 3.
Flying 4 or 5 hours? 4
or 5 hours, but if I know I'm only going to do 2 hours, 2 hours that week, the summertime, because with these, I don't like trying to upset me social life as well, so if I'm going out one night, I'll keep my pigeons in and I'll fly them a bit extra the next. So if it means flying them twice, I'll fly them about 7 hours.
But, so you'd be happy with flying them twice a week at 7 hours?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, but once they know the ropes, once these know the ropes, I don't believe in long flies. You know, once you've got the routine, they know what to do. Basically that's it. But I mean, if you've got some young ones, like just like yearlings, like, I mean, my old ones, then no problem at all. Twice a week will do that. But the young ones, like, every 3 or 4 times a week I try to get them out.
Would you say, do you concentrate more on your hens or on your cocks for flying?
Well, I'll be quite honest, since I've always fed a mixed kit. So really, but this time I'm going to try and fly a kit of each, like hens and cocks. But I'll do fly, most of my good pigeons have been hens.
So you prefer to fly hens?
I prefer to fly hens. Well, off that photo, 2 of my stars are in here, as you can see. The black one at the top, the black badge, and the black saddle in the back.
That's the one there,
yeah,
Michael?
That's that one, yes. Yeah. That was on the photo.
Yeah,
there.
They're looking at the other birds, Michael. They seem a little bit longer.
Those do, yeah.
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 But again, that's part of the breed, probably.
There's a few light breeds in here, so the eldest, and that one looks a bit small, like, you know. But I'm really pleased with these. And I've just acquired one off Mr. Bristow, the sandy hen. That's one of his 20-hour hens.
That's one of the hens which Colin played.
Yeah. Now, which he done 20 hours as a youngster, and he missed it 3 times, see. But then he bred his yellows out that end, 20-hour hens. So she's always been a good producer.
You're a very fortunate man.
Oh, I'm bodied that. Colin's lent me that. on condition, he said, I daresn't ring him up and say, Colin, I've got a bit bad news. First thing he'll say is, not me Sandy hen.
Yes.
Because
so,
that hen I'm really privileged to have here.
She looks a flying machine, Michael.
Well, I'm hoping to have a few of this year, you know, the red ones.
Do you find you put many of your best flyers, do you keep many of the youngsters for stock? Or do you tend to just breed them?
I tend to breed them, but this year I've kept a few more for stock.
You've kept a few?
For the simple reason, all the pigeons I had off Colin, the producers, they're all getting older, you see. And the one, he's only losing one egg, so I've had to put some of his in, because if they lose them, I've got none left at all. But basically, these and all, I mean, just because them darkens on the bottom, there's no specific reason, because I'll give them a bath. I usually put the cocks in the flight and give the hens a bath in there. And I'll just pick them, they just went in there. Yeah. But I think there's one of these young blue hens going to be a blue cock. That one there.
Oh, yes, yes.
So really you can't tell till after, so...
That's right.
I started with 20 hens, and out of them 20 hens, 3 or 10 are cocks.
I'm with you. So what we've got in here are your flyers and your...
My flyers and my stock.
And your stock.
Basically, and I'm really...
You're happy with them, that's
I'm happy, really happy, yes.
Now can we go and look at your flying boxes, Michael?
Of course you can.
Oh, with a stock, but this, from here they go right into the trap, I presume?
Right into my trap. I usually got my little thing up here for my strap. They're into the trap, and that's basically out there into the trap. And when they come back in, they go straight back to their own boxes.
So you find you don't have to handle them?
No,
so
I don't believe in that. I just handle them like in the morning to make sure, like I say, I've checked the my ring number again, because this is one of the things I had to check, make sure your ring numbers are right. Although I've checked them the day before, and I know off by heart, I'll still check them again and just give the feet one more wipe to make sure there's nothing on, and basically then that's it.
Yeah, they go right from there.
Straight into there.
Is this your medicine box?
This is my...
Now, can I say, when we did Tex, Tex has probably got a medicine room which is about probably 5 foot square, but it's still the basics there. There's your basics there.
It's an old kitchen cabinet off the wall. My shaving tap has been, and all I've just got in, I mean, is basically...
This is basics.
That's basically what it is. My star for my pigeons, this and that, and there's a few knickknacks.
Yes.
And basically, that's just somewhere to keep them.
That's there, and you got your Epsom salts there, and
everything's there.
Stuff for the canker.
Yeah.
Do you get much stuff from Belgium, or is it brought all local?
No, it's brought all local. Just it's the last few years I've been tending to have a few bits and bobs from Belgium,
from
because
Belgium, yes.
Our friend Ashley goes over there regular, and he brings 10
I would say that's from Belgium, is it?
That's right. And he drops it.
4 faults there.
Yeah.
And what's that for, Michael?
Well, that's gone off the market. You can't get the normal. That's finished. That's.
And can I say what you use it for?
Well, it's just supposed to, when they're flying, you loose them out. It's supposed to make them. It's supposed to make them and keep off the water longer, like, you know.
Have you found its work, Michael?
I've found it. That's what I've used all the time.
Yeah,
I've used that, yeah.
Because what we're finding in the sport now, there's a lot of people bringing medicine back from Belgium, and there's a lot of it which we can't attain in the UK, and we're finding it does help get the birds fitter.
But basically, like, there ain't much in there at all. I mean,
but
that's it, yeah.
That isn't a thing for flying the birds.
No, it's I mean, so it's
training is flying.
That's all. Basically, this is only like during my time.
That's right.
Keeping, yes. Before I breed, I'll wash everything out and you know, disinfectant it, and that's what I use, and that's just for the baths.
Yes.
And that's some stuff, potassium for the baths, and this is just basics, the least things, like, you know. I mean, there's nothing there I can hide. Not like that Mr. Brooks. You know, I seen all what he's got made on. He's seen half of it. As you say, this shed, they should have been on these boxes. There should have been another 3.
Yes.
But I had it cut off to accommodate that X section there, make it big enough for it. But we should have had more, because you can't have enough flying boxes. I've got 12 there, but basically I reckon the other 3 which I cut off at the 8 foot would have been just right. So the more the merrier.
If you've got 3 birds on that good kit, you only need 3 boxes.
That's right. I agree.
Well, Michael, can I thank you for allowing us in your lofts this morning?
It's been a pleasure.
And I hope you'll stay in Australia with Michael will be really enjoyable.
I'm just looking forward to seeing him, and I'm just vexed I wasn't here last time, like, you know, now when he comes over again, that he can see a new setup. Good. Because I've been around all the sheds, and I've got to pinch all their ideas, so hopefully I'm hoping to have a super duper shed, and now that's it, and I'm going to patent it. I've picked everybody's brains.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.